Hello, hello again, everybody. We are back on Spaces a little early today so we can accommodate our friends on the across the pond. Oh, and look at that. Already here. We got George. All right. Invite. Approve George to co-host. Invite Zeus to speak. Bring everybody on here. Oh, how you doing, George? I am good. Anything you want to cover before we introduce
Yeah, I'm going
our
in a
guest?
second.
Perfect. Take your time, boss. I'm in no rush. It's a little bit early, so we good.
That was kind of weird. Waking up this morning going, hey, I got to get my laundry done quick today.
Right? Yeah. No. I've got the sun coming in from a different angle. It's like, oh, all right.
I live in a basement, so I'm good.
Nice. So what's up? What you?
Yeah,
want to
before
cover?
we get going, I guess we'll quickly plug the last episode on our YouTube channel, which was episode 30, which was kind of a tribute in time, a classic match of the week expanded to a time period, which is what I was looking for. And we got everything we were looking for. So it was Howard Baum.
Yeah,
it was
that was absolutely
every bit as I thought it would go, because we were trying to stay on one subject and we went everywhere, which I knew was going to happen.
That's what we do.
I knew that was going to happen. But I loved it. I knew what I was getting at. I knew exactly what was happening. So I figured
it was absolutely great. It was one of the more fun conversations you just ever had, period. And it was fun. You just kind of send him off and let him go, and then all I was trying to do was like throw a little bit at him so he could just keep going, and it seemed to work really well.
In case anyone thought was Dusty Rhodes' career through his eyes, but we kind of went well past that. It was awesome.
Yeah,
I loved every minute of it.
Yeah, me too. Hey, I've got it cut into 3 clips. It was hard to find a spot to clip it because it is just a flowing conversation.
It rolls. It just rolls.
Yeah, no, we're getting a lot of good feedback too.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
So far so good. I love it. And then on Thursday night, our live show will be, as always, the Dynamite Review, which this week will be Title Tuesday.
Their Title Tuesday, yeah. I'm way more excited about NXT and TNA, so I'll definitely
but we'll do that show probably. We'll do that show on Wednesday.
I just mean for the watching of it. I've been watching Dynamite live, so I can see everything. Because
I'm watching Dynamite. I'm watching Dynamite on Wednesday, like I always would.
Smart,
because I'm going to watch NXT on Tuesday. So
yeah, no, that's true. That is
so.
A valid point.
With all that said, I was trying to get a guest on the show that we haven't had really before, and I was looking for overseas people because I know we do have some listeners over there, which is good. I was talking to Dr. Gina, and Gina said, hey, my friend Zeus would probably love to be on your show. And I had followed Zeus right when I met Gina. I followed Zeus, but Zeus never followed back me because he's like that. I'm just kidding, Zeus. Anyhow, I DM'd him and I said, dude, I'd love to have you on the show, but you got to accept, I told Gina to have him accept me as a follower so I could talk to this guy, because I've been trying to get him since I hear him all the time, and I wanted to get him on. So now we finally connected. I know the dude never sleeps because we DM at 4:00 in the morning his time. So without further ado, the honorary Zeus is here with us. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Hey, happy to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on. I'm excited to have this conversation for sure.
Yeah, same. And George, nothing personal. I genuinely did not see the follow. I get this thing sometimes where like I see some people follow me, but it never shows up in my notifications, and I have to kind of look at the profile and think, do I need to follow this person back? Like, are they wrestling fans, or are they just kind of bots kind of thing? So yeah, I just honestly didn't see it. So
yeah, it's all good. I kid around like this a lot, so you have to get my sense of humor. You're all right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Well, I feel it's very, George and I are very self-deprecating a lot of times. Like I always joke that we're professionally unprofessional, and like, we didn't know what we were doing getting started into this. So I kind of feel like that fits into at least the British humor that I've seen. But tell us more about yourself. Like, how did you meet, Dr. Gina? Like what's, what do you do? What do you follow with wrestling? Like, yeah, tell us your story.
So with Gina, I met Gina in one of our group chats. And me and Gina have a very common interest in psychology. Gina obviously being a doctor of psychology. I have a very keen interest in the subject myself, and we both love wrestling. So, we kind of just got got on really well, and we've had a lot of interesting conversations ourselves. In terms of wrestling, I've been watching wrestling since probably 1996. I think people often ask me like, what's my first memory of wrestling? And it's Mankind Undertaker Boiler Room Brawl match. That was the first ever bit of wrestling I ever watched. So I was hooked from then on. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And yeah, I've been watching pretty much ever since. I think I took a break maybe 2010 to 2013. You know, that was kind of really rough period of WWE. And then yeah, the whole world did. And I met somebody a few years later who, you know, liked all the same music as me, supported the same football team as me, loved wrestling, and they kind of got me back into it. And, you know, he said, "Oh, you need to check out this Bray Wyatt character." And I was like, "Oh, that sounds cool." And then the Shield and stuff like that. So that's kind of when I got back into it, and I've been watching pretty much ever since then.
So in those early days, dude, how do you manage to watch everything? Like, your time frame is obviously different than ours, so obviously you got to adjust your schedule.
Well, a lot of it, when I was younger, a lot of it was kind of, you know, taping it on VHS and my dad recording it for me. And the reason I watched the Boiler Room Brawl match was because I was out playing in the garden with a dog, and my dad said, "Oh, come and check this out." And it was like a replay of SummerSlam 96. I think it must have been like a few weeks after.
Okay.
So it was like 5 PM when it was playing, I think, or 6 PM or something. And yeah, I just watched it and I thought, "Oh, this is awesome." And I think the main event was HBK versus Vader, I think. Yeah, and
that
then,
match.
yeah, exactly. And then yeah, it was a lot of kind of like, you know, dad having to record it on long play for me and VHS and watching it the next day and stuff. And then Monday Night Raw was on a delay here. So Monday Night Raw here used to be on Friday evenings.
Geez, I didn't know that.
And then, yeah, I used to watch it but obviously there was no internet back then. So well, it was, but not to my access. So like spoilers weren't a problem. So it didn't really bother me. So it was like 10 PM Friday night for me. And then SmackDown would be the following morning at 10 AM.
Oh, wow.
So I'd kind of get like the whole week's worth within a space of like 12 hours.
That's
cool. And that used to be my like little routine when I was a kid. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew it was on a delay of some sort. I've heard people talk about that before. I didn't realize it was to Friday though. I thought it was like Tuesday night or Wednesday night because I mean, it's almost like they had to get you because satellite and like you said, I mean, the internet was there, but we still were like doing dial up. You weren't getting that much great information. That's cool though.
That's still
it was great. Like, and my dad used to work away during the week, so my dad would come home Friday. He'd bring me like some snacks and stuff, and then I'd go and watch wrestling. It was like a nice little routine for me. And yeah, I just watched throughout then up until, like I said, that little break. But yeah, wrestling's always been probably like wrestling and gaming are like my two biggest passions, and football, obviously. But wrestling's always been the constant for me.
That's where I was kind of heading next. Do you have a favorite between the wrestling and the football?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I kind of treat them differently because football for me is, I treat football more like a religion than I do wrestling. So if wrestling sucks, I'll take a break. If my football team sucks, I'll still watch. I will never take a break from football.
Right.
So I imagine it's the same for you guys at NFL. It's kind of like wrestling for me is kind of, I don't treat wrestling as serious as I treat football. Like I laugh, I cry, I get angry at my football team. I don't really get the same emotions with wrestling. So I kind of treat them a bit differently, but yeah, I do love them both all the same.
Yeah, I want to go into wrestling to be entertained. So like, I will purposely try to be entertained because I'm looking for that. Like, I'm looking to not have the regular world. Yeah. For people who don't know, Zeus and I support the same football team.
I was going there next. I
was just letting, yeah, but I'm that way. We were very bad for a big portion of last year, and I would still wake up early and like basically ruin my weekend. Like, all right, let's get up at 7 AM on Saturday and just ruin the weekend. Yeah, because it's more of what you live for.
First of all, I hope you guys realize I did call it football and not soccer. So chalk one up. I tried. Now you and Jake are Spurs guys. Is that the deal?
That's correct.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Fill me in. I'll let you guys talk about this because I don't know anything about it. And I want to know why, at the end of your conversation describing the Spurs experience, why do you think football is not popular in the U.S. as it is there? So it's a two-parter.
Well, yeah, from a British perspective, I think football, the heritage here is just so deep. So I think it's been around more, it's been funded more, there's been a lot more grassroots here in the UK for, you know, going back to the 1800s sometimes with some of these clubs where they formed, and they're still going today. And I think it just became the dominant passion here. And we've got like cricket and tennis and golf and things like that, but nothing really equates to football. And there's a manager called Bill Shankly from I can't remember what decade, but quite a while ago, and he said that football is not a matter of life or death; it's so much more than that. And that really kind of epitomizes how football is seen in this country.
That makes sense.
And it kind of spread to Europe, and obviously Europe's got a great history of football as well, like in Spain and Italy and South America to some extent, with obviously Brazil and Argentina. But in the US, I think obviously having the NFL was your big thing, and it kind of, you know, took the spotlight for like the big sport. But I think I was talking to Jake last night. I think football/soccer is making a big wave in America, and has done for the past, like, say, 10, 15 years. Culminating in, you know, you had a World Cup before. You had the World Cup in 1994, I believe. And you're having it again next year. You've had the Club World Cup. You're having a lot more Premier League legends towards the end of their career go and play in the MLS. Like, you know, Son Heung-min plays for, who does he play for, Jake, now?
LAFC, who's not the
LAFC.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think there's kind of a lot more crossover, and a lot of it's going to be based on money and sponsorships, things like that, like these things are.
Yeah, but the biggest thing for America was it was the 2010 World Cup. After that summer, ESPN and Fox both realized that there was at least an audience that would wake up at weird times, because it was in South Africa, so their games were at like 5 a.m, 4 a.m, whatever. And they started airing games more live. Like, you could catch games on it. They would tape delay them and think that people would want to watch it because, oh, it's a good time to air it. But people will wake up and watch them. I mean, I'm on the West Coast, so like yesterday's match was at 4:30. Now, a lot of times I'll wake up and like wake up a little later and DVR it and just not look at my phone for a couple hours, but for those 4:30 ones. But a lot of times too, if it's an important one, there's so many groups out here now because there's access to it. It's what it's all about. You've got to be able to actually watch all the matches, you know, and NBC now makes you pay for it with Peacock. They were smart and did the first 3 or 4 years where it was free. Everybody could watch any match just on different cable channels, and then eventually on Peacock. And then in the second year of Peacock, they started charging for it. It was like the old, you know, the first hit's free, we get you addicted to it. Yeah. And now they charge through the ass for it.
Makes sense.
Always the way.
The thing where you said about the passion and the religion, so I did like a semester of college in London in 2003. And that was how I became a Spurs fan, because my father was a soccer coach here in Arizona my whole life. And so I grew up around the game. So I was the one like U.S. exchange student who knew the sport. Like, when we were watching it, I forget exactly what it was, but like they called him offside, and I was like, that's not offside. And 3 guys looked at me and were like, wait, you understand this? Because apparently none of the other Americans did. This was 2003, so it wasn't as popular yet, but I understood the game, and they were Spurs fans, and they turned me on to Tottenham. So that's kind of how I, you know, became a fan then. Plus, I grew up a Red Sox fan, and, you know, Tottenham doesn't have the best history of winning. And so I just kind of, I understood that, like, especially in 2003, before the Red Sox had won the World Series. I just understood the team. Plus, there's a large Jewish contingent. My father's Jewish, so I was like, you know what? That's my team. And been a big fan ever since. But I will say it was 2010, 11, that season, that got me more into them, because I could watch every match. I didn't have to like try to find highlights online or whatever.
Yeah, and I think the broadcast exposure, like you say, after the 2010 World Cup, which is actually one of my favorite World Cups looking back.
Yes.
I think like that and the Korea one in 2002, I think they're my 2 favorite World Cups. But yeah, the exposure and the broadcast, like, it's like here in wrestling, like, you know, wrestling was quite hard to find here. And then the more it became available on like your traditional cable providers, then the more we can watch it. And obviously, you know, that's just the way to grow the brand, isn't it? Especially in the UK and America, where we kind of have similar cultures. So we're kind of into all the same things largely. So yeah, I think it's only gone from strength to strength, and I can see the World Cup next year being a huge success. As much as it's going to be difficult for me to watch football for a change next year because of the late times.
Right.
But yeah, looking forward to it.
Sounds exciting. I watch the women's gold medal game. I've seen games. I personally, I can't. there's not a lot of excitement going for me, but I can see when I watch a game that you guys, whatever league you guys are, I'm sorry, the Premier League or whatever, what is it?
Yep, that's
okay.
it.
Premier League. I'll see highlights of it, and people they're nuts. And I like that. That's cool, but it's just not, I can't get into it. I try. I just can't. But
well, and it's when you're watching it from an American perspective, it's different too, because America,
I have
a lot of soccer is about.
Since you mentioned that, Jake,
yeah.
If you don't go to London on your exchange, would you be a soccer fan as you are today?
I would be because of my father.
Okay,
yes.
cool. Okay.
Yes, I would be, but I grew up around the game, so I literally grew up understanding and loving the sport. Now, because I became a Spurs fan and being able to I'm much more of a fan now of the group the friends that I've made, the family that I've kind of chosen through this team. And we've lived and died together. We've watched these terrible matches and horrible losses, but also these amazing wins and awesome times. So that's a lot of what is for me, which is where I kind of equate a lot of what soccer football is in England to what college football is here, where it's part of the community and you kind of, they grow up around it. It's just part of the city or the village or wherever, whether it's a non-league team that plays in front of 1,000 people or, a team that plays in front of 60 to 70,000 people every week. It just depends. It's more ingrained into them. That's college football is the closest passion that I can come to in this country of what it is over there for the Premier League and football in general, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Yeah, and I think that what makes the Premier League for me so special is just how competitive it is. The crowds are great, and you see Jake, you'll know this, the last minute winners when there's something really big on the line, and the absolute crazy scenes, and the disappointment, the heartbreak, and you kind of share all that together. And the underdogs as well. There's a team here called Leicester City who never really been that big. They've always been kind of in and out of the Premier League. But in 2015, they went and won it out of nowhere, and they were 1,000 to 1 to win the Premier League, which is in UK terms, if you bet £1, you get £1,000 back for that bet. And they just completely surprised everybody and won the Premier League above Manchester United, Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester City, Tottenham. And it was just the craziest thing any of us had ever seen. And it was just the most, and that you can't find that kind of level of unpredictability in many of the other European leagues. And it just made the whole thing, even though Tottenham were the biggest victims of that, because we probably would have won it if it wasn't for them.
One year we had a chance, the most miraculous story ever comes behind you.
It was the one year where we were probably ahead of all the big teams and we had the best chance, and then a random underdog goes and wins ahead of us.
Ruins everything every time.
Yeah, no, it would be like a college football team that was I don't know, maybe Vanderbilt, let's say, who plays in the SEC and went undefeated and ran teams out and somehow ended up winning the national championship. Wait, what? It's it was that kind of similar.
That's pretty cool. So as we kind of turn things back toward wrestling, but stay in the football field, how is the Khan's experience over there with soccer?
The Khans? I mean, you mean Tony Khan?
Yes. The Khan-owned team.
Yeah, so that's Fulham FC. So they are a West London-based team. They're kind of, I don't know how to describe them. They are kind of very consistently middle of the road. So they will always finish, there's 20 teams in the Premier League, and you'll always see Fulham between, say, 9th and 13th. They're that kind of team. Very consistent. They don't win anything, but they stay in the Premier League, which is very financial to do so. But they're kind of just there,
right?
And they don't qualify for European competition. They don't get relegated. They don't win trophies. They're just there every season, and they have been for a very, very long time. So, the biggest compliment I can pay them is that they're consistent in what they do.
Okay. Yeah. And how is the Khan family regarded in ownership status amongst the people?
You don't hear many complaints from Fulham fans. I think, although one thing I will say is that they do have the most expensive season tickets in Europe.
Interesting.
So a season ticket is where it's what it says on the tin basically, is where you buy, at the beginning of the season, you spend, in Fulham's case, I think it's £3,500, and that gets you access to every single home game that season. But they have the most expensive ones in all of Europe. So above Tottenham, above Man United, above Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester City, Real Madrid. They're more expensive than that. So I think that's the only kind of gripe that Fulham fans have is just how
the stadium
expensive it is.
Small, right? I mean, how big is Craven Cottage? It doesn't have that. I mean, it's like what, maybe 20? I don't even know if it's 20. I have no idea.
Yeah, I think it's like hovering. I mean,
place.
yeah. Let me just get the capacity. I think it's hovering around 20,000. Let's have a look.
So
there we go. 29,000. It's had some increases recently.
Okay, then they shouldn't be charging that much. I thought it was like 19, so I was like, they're trying to maximize what they can get, but to be charging more than Real Madrid is a bit much.
Yeah, it's crazy. Considering they don't win anything either, but that's pretty wide.
Right. They're middle of the road, like you said. That sounds like a rip-off, but
yeah. That's Tony Khan's baby here in London, here in the UK.
I'm sure there's some like Fulham diehards that want him to invest more in the team, but that's what they're used to. I mean, they had one run one time where they played European football, but other than that, but that was years ago. I mean, that was, so it doesn't surprise me. And then they went down for a little while where they were in the league below. That's the other thing about, European soccer too, where they've got, there's 20 teams in the league, but the teams that finish 18, 19, and 20, they go down to the league below and lose a bunch of money, and the top 3 teams, the top 2 teams, and there's a playoff for that third spot, they go up. So that does keep the games exciting too. So even if you're, some of the matches at the end of the year, like the teams aren't going to win the league, but the teams that are fighting for relegation, it's just as important for them. And those can be some of the most fun moments to watch at the end of the season too, is when a team saves their soul, or when they don't. And then you see them, all the fans crying because they're out of the Premier League for a year at least.
Yeah, and some of my favorite part of the season is, so the league below the Premier League is called the Championship.
Right.
And, at the end of the season, you have the Championship playoffs, which is the teams that finish 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. They get paired off. So they get paired off in random pairs.
Okay.
And they play each other home and away. And whoever has the highest combined score goes to the final at Wembley Stadium.
Oh.
And then the winner of that match then gets £120 million and also into the Premier League. So it's like the richest prize in football.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's the richest game in football for it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's crazy dramatic. It's crazy dramatic.
Sounds pretty awesome, actually.
And it's kind of fun too, because they're the teams that are a little bit lower there. It's more like scrappier teams where you're not going to see, I mean, you might see some moments of glory, but you're not seeing like amazing players out there most of the time. It's usually a lot of younger guys or some older grizzled veterans, but so it's just it's a fun way of watching the game. It's not quite as beautiful, but I kind of like it sometimes when it's gritty and dirty. It's kind of like, it's like the NFL. Like we like the games that are, what games go down in history, like the Mud Bowls, the Ice Bowls, those crazy. That's kind of fun to watch that way.
Yeah, I agree. Does Tony Khan or AEW have any kind of advantage over there having a soccer presence ahead of time? Like, can he use that to his advantage with the people? Does that come into play at all, Zeus, or no?
I don't think so. I mean, I guess the proof's always in the pudding, and I think, we can talk about AEW on this space, but, I think that, AEW's kind of quote unquote success this year, would probably lead to me no. I think they're treated as completely separate entities.
That's interesting.
And people always say, why doesn't Tony Khan do a show at Craven Cottage?
That's where I was heading next.
Probably, he could do that, and instead of paying, £500,000 to rent out Wembley, which he does, he could just use, but obviously he's not going to get 50, 60, 70, 80,000 in, Craven Cottage. He'll probably maybe get like 40, 50 at push with including standing. So no, I don't know of any kind of direct relationship between the two or any kind of advantages he could take. I think they are just treated as separate, just business entities.
But wouldn't that look better for their product if they were at Craven Cottage and filled the place up?
I think so, yeah. And obviously the revenue it brings into the stadium as well.
Right? I didn't think about that, yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be a good idea. I mean, I don't know whether location's a problem, but it is still in London. Like, West London is still London.
Right, exactly. It's still in London. Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
I mean, they've done outside of cities and pretended they've done arenas that are 20, 30 minutes outside of the major city. Like, we're in St. Louis, kind of. That's fine. As long as there's a train and then they can make sure that they don't go past midnight or whatever so that people can get home. That's all they need to make sure they do.
Yeah, I'm very surprised he hasn't done that yet. And even if he does Wembley as well, like, you could probably get away with doing 2 UK shows a year.
Yeah.
Do one in like January, February time, and then wait till All In August. I think that's a good time frame.
I think they're doing that this year. I think they're coming back in December. I'm pretty sure he said.
Oh, really? Yeah, I think they're probably doing a tour, aren't
they? I could easily be wrong. I was kind of surprised they didn't do like get the AEW logo as the shirt sponsor. I don't know how much they're getting paid for that, but do they really need the money? Like maybe eat that bill and put AEW as the shirt sponsor or something, just to have some sort of like George said, just have some sort of advertising presence somewhere.
Potentially, yeah. I guess it depends on, the current shirt sponsor, how much they're paying.
That's a good point.
Because I think it's going to be a case of they just need all football teams are the same, aren't they? They just want to get the best value for the deal. So yeah, it's probably to do with how much the current, I don't know who sponsors, I think is it T-Mobile, I think, who sponsors Fulham or something, but they're probably paying through the nose to, be on a football shirt all over a stadium. So it's probably an expense that probably Tony Khan, probably can get away with.
Yeah, that's a good point. I just one of the things I thought they might do at some point, but
we've seen now whenever AEW goes to London or anywhere overseas, they draw very well. Do you feel that that's people just want to see wrestling, or is AEW considered, dare I say, better over there, or just that WWE won't come there?
It's a difficult one because I think that on the whole, the UK is probably more of like a mark diehard fan base, if you know what I mean. So I think the desire for AEW specifically is definitely here. But on the flip side, there is that we just want wrestling because we don't get it. And, so even when WWE come here, wherever they go, whatever city, whether it's Newcastle, Glasgow, Birmingham, Cardiff, it just sells out.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we're just so starved for wrestling. I think you'll probably get like rowdier crowds at AEW shows in the UK just because there is that kind of diehard fan base here. Like it's very kind of concentrated. But yeah, I think on the whole, it's just, we don't get wrestling very much, and we haven't had it for years because WWE only started coming here regularly recently in the last few years. Before that, it was like Insurrection or Capital Carnage, those terrible pay-per-views where nothing happened.
Insurrection was the one I could remember.
Rebellion.
Rebellion was the, oh wow.
Yeah,
man.
So that was usually the only time we would ever get shows, and they were all terrible shows and nothing ever happened. So it's nice to kind of have that kind of presence in the UK, and AEW definitely helps that as well.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's still a case of, it's not going to be a case of like, we've had 2 wrestling shows this year, we're done, we just want more of it. So I can see it being a continued success for both companies.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw the mayor of London, I believe, said they wanted WrestleMania there. Is there anything following up with that? Do you know?
Well, he's got to outbid the Saudis, which is a tall task for anybody.
That was a tough one. One.
Yeah. I mean, like Sadiq Khan, I think he could pull it off, and I think he will pull it off. It's not going to be soon, but I think the amount of, if he pays like 50 million or something to get WrestleMania, like the City of London is going to make way more than that for that entire week period of tourism, because, London's a very diverse place anyway, but if you have WrestleMania in London, you're going to pull people from all over Europe.
Isn't there pretty good? I mean, I think it's back now. Like there's a decent UK indie scene again, and we know what happened the week of WrestleMania there. I know I know a lot of them are more based in the northern regions, but they'll all come down and do shows there too. So I could see that being a real big impact.
Well, yeah, like I'm pretty sure Mercedes Moné is all of their champions at the moment.
I forgot about that. I'm sure she is, men's and women's.
Yeah. But yeah, we've got like, I think, the biggest one is Rev Pro, I think, at the moment. Then you've got ICW, which is, Insane Championship Wrestling in Scotland. That's where Joe Hendry made his name.
Okay.
So Joe Hendry was, I've been to a couple of ICW shows and they are great fun. That's in Glasgow. And, he did this thing where he would, before he came out, he would write songs about his opponent who he's facing. And then, So, and that was all in ICW mostly. Right, So yeah, there's kind of been like a little revitalization of the UK indie scene for sure.
Right, because I know with the whole NXT UK thing kind of killed it for a while, but I felt like I've seen more highlights recently in the last couple of years on X or wherever. But no, that's funny you mentioned that about Joe Hendry, because that's how I first ever heard about him. Was one of my friends, one of my wrestling buddies, sent me the video. You got to see this guy. I forget which of the entries it was doing, because I went down the rabbit hole and watched all of them that I could, because they're great. I met him at a meet and greet in February. It was one of the nicest people I've met. Really cool.
Oh, really cool.
Yeah. You could tell he was exhausted because he was out here in Phoenix. It was just for a meet and greet, but he stood up for everybody, let everybody hold the belt. Like, that was when he was TNA World Champion. It was cool.
Yeah, I like Joe Hendry. I like Joe Hendry. I think he comes across really well, and well, he's obviously going to have quite the career change coming up very soon, isn't he? In terms of going to WWE.
Yeah, I mean, he's been pretty much since what was it, Slammiversary. He's been a part of NXT. I don't know how much NXT you watch, but I mean, it's for you guys. It is just all on Netflix, right? Raw,
yeah.
NXT. That's cool. That makes it a little easier.
Yeah. It was a welcome news, and I am a huge NXT fan, and I can see there's the biggest NXT fan in the world. John's in the chat, and I say that with the utmost sarcasm. But yeah, I'm a huge NXT fan. I think that wrestling has largely been boring this year, but when it comes to NXT, it kind of gives me that kind of like goofy shit relief, and stuff's a bit out there and it's a bit wild, and there's I enjoy seeing people develop over time as well. That's one of the best things I like about NXT.
That's what
Jake got me back. Jake got me watching it, so.
I did. That was an early on in our spaces. It was one of my goals was like, all right, well, because George hadn't watched forever, I'm like, I'm going to get him to watch it. And what I always say is it's not always, sometimes it's the best show of the week, but it's not always the best wrestling show of the week, but it's always the most fun. That's 2 hours of good time. And then
it's the best pay-per-view of ever.
Their pay-per-views are great.
They're awesome.
They just, And like Zeus said, it's the watching it develop. Like, you can see people when they first start, when it's rough, or that point though where they get it and all of a sudden their promos get more confident and the matches get better. Or I think of the people that have come over from AEW, like George always talks about how, it's easier to train somebody from scratch than retrain off bad habits. And, you can see it in NXT when the training kind of just, for these people, when it kicks in and it clicks, and they're, the people that came from AEW, like, Lexis King or Ricky Saints, where, it might have been a little rough when they first came in, and then now they've kind of blown up and shown what they can actually do. And it's cool to see.
Yeah.
Ethan Page too. I'm like, there was one more, Ethan Page, but I feel like he was ready the day he showed up. He's like, just let me work.
Oh yeah, Ethan Page. I love Ethan Page. I think he's great. And what I like about NXT is that, like, for me, I can take wrestling when it's good, and I can take wrestling when it's bad and they've made an effort and something's gone wrong. But what I can't take is just boring and lazy wrestling.
Yeah, laziness.
And from the booking perspective, and that's one of the problems I have with WWE and AEW this year.
Yeah,
is it just feels like there's not much. It just feels like there's not much effort. Everyone's resting on their laurels. But I like companies that kind of take risks. If it doesn't go well, who cares? Because when it does go well, then you get some nice payoff sometimes.
That's the beauty of wrestling. If it doesn't go well, you've always got next week. That's kind of the same thing with football or any sport, any athlete or team that I watch. Like, hey, if you make a mistake, make an error, hey, that's fine. What I can't take is laziness. You didn't go track your man back on defense. You didn't run out the play to first base or what. You know what I mean? Like, that's the same idea. Just don't be lazy. And sometimes you can see it too. It doesn't happen as often, but in the ring sometimes you'll see little just lazy moments or whatever, and that's where I would get bothered. If they try a move or they botched something, but it was just because of a error, okay, whatever. We can laugh at it, but no big deal. But when it's just because, they didn't get themselves in a position, or they weren't paying attention and landed on their back or their head or whatever.
Yeah. So Zeus, what currently is your main go-to for wrestling, no matter what company, where it is, what storyline, what angles got you focused 100% at the present time?
I think at the moment it has to be the NXT TNA Showdown.
Okay.
I think that is probably the most Griffin way. There's a couple of things I like on WWE at the moment. I kind of enjoying Bayley's kind of split personality gimmick, and kind of excited to see how that evolves and where it goes.
Yeah, cheap plug. We broke it down with Dr. Gina on her show with us. So sorry.
She's got the scoops on that, definitely. And I think Jey Uso as well. I think I was, very probably a bit too vocal about how much I didn't like Jey Uso winning the Rumble and his world title run, and I always preferred him when he was kind of a heel in the bloodline with his brother. But this kind of sudden change in his attitude and becoming a bit more edgy, and Roman's back a bit more regularly, hopefully going forward. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing where that goes.
Sure.
But yeah, I think outside of that, like AEW, I think I've struggled a bit recently, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It's after All In, I've kind of not really found much that intrigues me, just because for me personally and for what I look for in a wrestling show, it hasn't really been, hitting it for me. And I think the card they've put out next week to compete with NXT says everything you need to know about their mindset for that show.
Yeah. Nostalgia.
So
Nostalgia.
yeah. John Moxley against Tomohiro Ishii is not really what I'm looking for. But NXT TNA Showdown is probably.
Kyle. Woohoo!
Yeah, I know. Actually, yeah, it was branded Kyle versus Kyle as well.
It's Kyle 1 or it's Kyle versus Kyle 2
Oh,
is
God.
the ad that I saw.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
exactly.
Great compliment to Kyle O'Reilly.
Yeah,
However-
right? I'm like,
You're number 2, bro.
I do like the Samoa Joe, Adam Page thing they got going on. I do like that.
Yeah, I think on paper that's great because
Yes.
I love Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe's fantastic. Adam Page is great as well. I've loved Adam Page for a long time. So again, I think they've got a chance now to kind of build a story between them, because I think it's at the moment it's just formed because Hangman dropped the belt. So, Samoa Joe's was, you haven't beaten me, that's fine. But yeah, if they can kind of build something really kind of gripping in the next 2 or 3 weeks, then yeah, I think that'll absolutely be a show stealer.
and I think Joe can do it. I'm with you. Anytime Joe's on TV, I'm happier when I'm watching. And I feel like, they threw the ball to him and he cut that impassioned promo. And I feel like that's great to have Hobbs with him too. Cause like, just sit here and like, even if it's just through osmosis, learn as much as you can from Joe about being a monster, Hobbs.
Yeah, but like this just said, this is gonna take weeks, not days. Weeks.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's supposed to. When is Wrestle Dream? Is it the 8th?
I think it's the 25th, I want to say. Let me just double check.
They got time.
But I think like the thing I have noticed, 18th, you're right. The thing I've noticed with AEW is that Tony Khan has a history of not really, I don't know whether it's because he doesn't like them or he prefers the indie style, but he doesn't really do well with big talent.
Nope.
I mean, physically big. So Wardlow, Brian Cage, Powerhouse Hobbs, the big guys.
Lance Archer,
Lance Archer, yeah.
Yeah.
There's not really a lot to be said for those guys.
No, I always say,
in AEW.
I've been saying it for years. Tony Khan booked big guys like Vince McMahon booked little guys. Like,
yeah.
Aside from Rey Mysterio, nobody else really got Buddy over for being smaller. And it's just the reverse. And you're absolutely right. We could just name a list of if you're over 6'4" and you're way close to or over.
If you're anywhere near 6'2" and 200, you're not going to make it. That's the because.
I think Samoa Joe's the only one, isn't he? If you look at all the AEW World Champions, I think Samoa Joe's the only one you'd say he's a big dude.
All you gotta do is look at the Gates of Agony dudes and tell you they're not gonna go anywhere. And that one guy that I like, Bishop Leone, is that the one I like?
Bishop Khan.
Bishop Khan, yeah.
I think that guy's money. But we'll see.
Yeah.
And he's buried with Ricochet and the other guy with him as anchors weighing him down. Yeah, no, it's Lance Archer? You're right too about the size, George, because look at, like, if you want to consider, like, for AEW, Josh Alexander's a big guy, and like, might as well just call him Job Alexander. Like, the moment he comes out, you're like, well, I know who's losing this match.
I think he's got a worse win-loss record than Akira Tozawa does this year. And he lost his first match as well.
Yeah,
which I thought,
but first match. Oh.
But I think to myself, like, you bring in Josh Alexander, don't put him in a tournament match with Adam Page when he's obviously going to be the one to win the tournament. Like, there must have been another place you could have put Josh Alexander, and then you put him with the other 400 members of the Don Callis family. Right, and Josh Alexander, like, I've gone from thinking Josh Alexander is a top guy in TNA to an absolute nobody this year. And that's really sad because I like Josh Alexander.
Yeah, no, awesome. I've been trying to watch more TNA the last year and a half. I don't watch, but when I did and saw him on, and it was a matter of 3 to 4 weeks. They brought him in and jobbed him out. And I don't believe I've ever actually seen him or even his team get a win. Now, I don't watch Collision, and I've only really been watching Dynamite religiously the last 2-3 weeks, but it's so sad because he was a top guy in TNA.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, and the Don Callis family itself is a bit of a mess at the moment because they've got some good talent in there. I think Konosuke Takeshita is one of the best wrestlers they've got. I think he just gets it. And I think he's got so much potential. He's like world champion waiting to happen. Obviously, you've got Okada there who brings, people can say, oh, he's not really putting in much effort in his AEW run, but I understand that because he's broken his body for years in Japan. Right. Now he just wants to have a payday. That's fine. But he's got experience that he can relay to people like Takeshita. Obviously Andrade's come in and obviously I laughed when he joined the Don Callis family because at this point I'm going to join the Don Callis family.
Who isn't in the Don Callis family?
Yeah. Gina, are you in the Don Callis family? John, Sam's in the Don Callis family? Yeah.
If you listen all the heels, it would be quicker to name the people who aren't in the Don Callis family.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that as funny as it was, I do think it's probably an upgrade from where Andrade was previously in AEW because now he has a mouthpiece, which is what he's desperately needed everywhere he's been. So I'll let it play out with Andrade. I just worry that there's just so many other members of the Don Callis family that he's just gonna
Fletcher's in there,
fade into nothingness. Fletcher's in there. Trent Beretta, Rocky Romero, but Mark Davis is still in the Don Callis family. This hologram clone thing, whatever that is.
Oh yeah, just they're calling him clone, but they're calling it without the E.
So funny thing, my wrestling conspiracy theory is that hologram is actually Tony Khan living out his dream as a wrestler.
Oh, that'd be awesome. That would be so awesome.
If he takes the mask off and it's Tony Khan, remember where you heard it first.
Yeah, dude, I'll die if I see that.
But I feel sorry for Evil Hologram because they were going to build this program and that hologram's like out for the year with a leg injury. Right. So now it's
I forget what he did, but like when I read the injury, it's like not one of those ones where you're like, oh, maybe he'll be. No, that's at least the rest of the year. It's a torn something.
Yeah, when you get injuries, they get injuries. There's no mess.
Yeah, so this clone is basically dead on arrival.
Yeah,
because he's got nothing to do.
Yeah,
and I don't see him cutting promos anytime soon either.
No. So I have a question that's somewhat controversial. I want to get your opinion on. Sure. Get your take on the whole Riho, Gail Kim thing that's going around town. Because I know Cornette went off on it, talking about Riho, and I'm not a big Riho fan because I think I agree with him. She looks like a scared schoolgirl, doesn't know what to do on the thing. What's your feel on the situation that's going on presently?
Yeah, I thought the situation itself that transpired on social media, I thought got way out of hand and shouldn't have gone as far as it did. I think Gail Kim's entitled to her opinion. I think that people seem to get upset because they thought she was pro WWE rather than it just being an opinion. I think they kind of tacked on that it was probably a fake one, but that's not true because she's buried WWE multiple times.
Right.
I'm not really a fan of Riho because I don't think in pro wrestling she brings any legitimacy to the product purely because of her size. And she doesn't have the kind of, obviously we have David and Goliath stories in wrestling, great, when they're very well told and constructed, but there hasn't been any effort to kind of tell a story like that with Riho. She kind of shows up every 6 months. Next week she's got a title shot. Yeah. She loses. She's gone. 6 months later, here she comes again. Title shot, loses. So, yeah, and I get she must have, travel, visa issues. It might be quite difficult, but yeah, Riho doesn't really do anything for me. But I think Gail's entitled to her opinion. If that's the way Gail feels, then that's fine. I think it's a valid opinion to have if that's how she feels. And obviously being an Asian wrestler herself, who wrestled way back in the day, and she's obviously huge experience in the wrestling business through WWE and TNA.
Right.
I think Kenny Omega getting involved as an EVP was a bit much. I think he should have just stayed quiet on that because.
And he did, like you nailed it earlier when you said that she was just making the comment about Riho and the situation. And it was the crazy sickos who took that as pro WWE, even though she never said that. And then Kenny just made it worse with his stupid tweet too. Cause they can't look at any criticism of them as just, well, maybe we should get better at this. No, it's, you're a WWE drone. And that's right where they went with it. And it just went out of proportion.
Yeah.
But yeah, Omega was stupid.
one thing I've noticed about like the two fan bases, if you take like, WWE and the AEW fan base, is that WWE fan base will watch the product and they'll constantly shit on Triple H. Like, Triple Nose, they'll call him all this stuff. But the AEW fan base, they treat Tony Khan like an absolute infallible god. And there will be zero criticism ever of Tony Khan. And I think it's fascinating how the two fan bases operate.
Yeah, no, that's true. You don't harm my Tony. Yeah, no, it's.
Yeah, leave my billionaire alone.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird that they gravitate toward a guy that has no idea what it's like to be a common person.
Yeah. And it is quite strange. And I don't know. I think me and Gina talked about this in a space once in terms of like fan interaction with wrestling companies. But, I think that both can be quite extreme and unwarranted. I think that as much as Triple H does have his faults, I think some of the criticism leveled towards him is, outlandish, to be honest. Some of the things you see on social media.
Right.
And you've seen some of the things people say on social media that, Triple H he's a Nazi and he's a racist and all that shit, where people don't know what those words mean. And they've just heard them once and throw them out. I think that's a bit much, but I think that constructive criticism of Triple H and Tony Khan seems to be the way forward, but you never seem to get that. It's very rare you find actual constructive criticism of, one or the other from their own fan base.
People don't even know what that means.
I think one of the biggest problems it's with the WWE fans. It's less of like defending the company or Triple. It's like they'll pick a specific wrestler, usually female, but sometimes male. And then they're just like, you can't say anything bad about this person at all. And so there's definitely those crazy fans everywhere with it. But yeah, with AEW, it's just almost all. I mean, they pick wrestlers too, but it's every single one of them always about Tony. And I always look at Triple H with, I try to see the good and the best of what he's doing with it, with the cards that he's playing with. But yeah, I do feel like there's at least certain times in certain storylines that just don't have what they had, this time last year. I feel like it was almost like Raw back when we were kids, where every single segment mattered, where you had to watch even the behind the scenes stuff with Dom and everything with it. But I still have faith that it's going to be better, that it will always get better. And it's a lot more, I'm more entertained the WWE shows I watched than the last 3 Dynamites I've watched, and the pay-per-views of them. So.
Yeah, and I think that you nailed it on the head, where like we'll keep watching in the hope that it gets better. Yeah. That's kind of where I am at the moment. And yeah, I just think that WWE's kind of there's always been this talk about AEW as competition to WWE, and I don't think that's strictly true. I think the only competition there is the amount Tony Khan is willing to pay a talent, and I think that's the only competition WWE is scared of, because if Tony Khan resets what the benchmark is for paying talent as a private entity, then WWE as a public entity are going to feel that, because when talent come back, they're going to say, well, he's paid me this, I want this. And obviously that's going to impact shareholders and God knows what.
Yeah.
So, but there's no competition in terms of ratings, ticket sales, popularity, merch. There's nothing. They're just completely leagues apart in pretty much every other aspect.
So when WWE comes overseas, I know, because we've seen it, they sell out quick.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that their ticket prices are the same they are here. Like right now, you can't go to a Raw for less than $400.
Yeah, they're pretty high here. And I think Mark Shapiro said they use dynamic pricing. And I think that applies to overseas as well. Yeah. So it's basically, it just takes care of the supply and demand for you.
Yeah.
So, and the demand is so great here, and I think the demand is pretty great everywhere for WWE. So those ticket prices are going to remain high, unfortunately, which is, it's going to suck for people who can't afford it. But as long as there are 30,000 people who can afford it, that's just how it's going to be.
Especially with the dynamic pricing of Win. Like, I got lucky when I went to the Raw. Actually, I went to the Raw where Jey Uso dropped the title. But I bought my ticket like 90 minutes before the show when they opened up some of the extra tickets on the side or whatever. But, there wasn't a ton of people looking at the tickets. The dynamic pricing helped me at that point within it. But when these tickets go on sale, they're going to be astronomical. I mean, we were talking about the World Cup for next year. They just started releasing tickets for wherever they were, and they're using dynamic pricing as well. And it's like, every major event it's just unfortunately part of the deal.
Well, yeah, and this is the thing. This is not just a WWE thing. And people say, oh, TKO's ruined WWE. It's like, well, you can argue that, but I don't think you can say that them charging high ticket prices is ruining the company, because I'm sure they're doing very well. But I think what I would say is that the higher ticket prices you have, the more likely you are going to have crowds who are casual fans rather than diehard fans. So the atmospheres can suffer in that respect, because if your arena is just full of families who want to take the kids to see some wrestling because they remember who the Undertaker is, then they're not going to pop for wrestlers like Julia and Ilya Dragunov. They're going to pop for Roman Reigns, Rhea Ripley. And I think you're seeing that a lot with these WWE shows, where the crowds are quite quiet until the major stars come out. Whereas the AEW fan base, for example, they're kind of the opposite, because they will pop for the smaller known stars because they're more into the product.
Right.
They know about the smaller
They know
stars.
who these people are. Yeah.
Yeah, like if Ilya Dragunov showed up on an AEW show, that place would fucking explode.
Yeah.
So I think that's my only problem with the pricing, is just that it makes for bad crowds, especially in the States at the moment. No offense.
Yeah. No, it's happened. It's happened. You can't take a family. You can't take a family to go to Raw.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, yeah, I mean, because for most of the diehard fan base, if you're gonna go, you either have to get lucky like I did. I was also going by myself too, so I knew I could kind of get a single ticket and make it work. But yeah, like if you're gonna go with the buddy, like you've got to make this decision, and that's like your money for your events could be for the whole year for a lot of people, depending on what the prices is for the shows. And then we're just talking about like Raws and SmackDowns, let alone pay-per-views, PLEs, whatever you want to call them, or even the Saturday main events too. I don't know what I think they just started releasing tickets for the John Cena's last match in DC, and I'm sure that's going to be insane. Good.
Well, yeah, because again, the demand for that is probably going to be one of the most in-demand shows they've ever done. Like John Cena's final match, that's insane. He's been wrestling for 25 years. So yeah, that's going to be insane prices. But I think that, people saying, oh, they're greedy, is like, well, they are a publicly traded company and they are beholden to shareholders, and, they have to do what's best for the shareholders. That's how public companies work.
It's capitalism.
So, yeah, it's basic capitalism. Like if they were a private entity, then, things might be different, but they are publicly traded on the stock market.
So, yeah,
exactly.
Somebody once said greed is good.
Right.
Just Mr. Gordon Gekko said that, and that's true.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
they got to look after number one. And, they provide a service, and they see 30,000 people willing to pay these prices, then they're not going to care about the people who can't. And that's just the unfortunate way it is. Yeah.
And a lot of it too, like, I mean, wrestling's always been built around moments, but I feel like nowadays with the social media culture and trying to get those big, AJ Lee's return gets 180 million views or whatever, like as long as they're still getting those and people are paying to go to the shows, they're still getting the big moments, like when Rhea comes out and you get a huge pop, or you have a big moment or whatever, and they're getting those big reactions. That's from their perspective, on paper, none of this is bad for them. Like, so there's people bitching online. Okay, there's always people bitching online.
And people say like, oh, why does Triple H keep touting numbers? It's like, well, when he does those media scrums, he's talking to advertisers, he's talking to sponsors. So if they say, if Michael Cole says this clip got 180 million views, then that's going to make sponsors say, I want to pay to put my product on your TV. And that's just more for the shareholders. So everything is done strategically. Like, Triple H absolutely, from a business perspective, he absolutely should tout the success of shows, because that is what is going to bring sponsors in to make money for the company. Whether if you don't like it as a fan, don't watch the post-show media scrums. I don't really find them that entertaining anyway. No, but I think they are more for sponsors than they are for fans.
Right, sponsors and shareholders. And you can see it too, like when they have those moments where something happens and there's the big ad on the barrier, but right behind the action or whatever it is, that company is very happy to see that this moment or this picture or whatever goes viral. It's great for them.
Like I think I probably drew a line at the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match.
That was rough. That one was rough. And I feel like they figured that out too, and they were like, okay, they always say in business it's all about going up to the line, and then sometimes you got to go over it and realize that. I feel like that one was that one of like, you know what, that was too far. Let's go back. We fucked up.
Well, yeah, and I think Miz getting eaten by zombies was probably a bit much as well.
Yeah, that was
during lockdown.
But Thunderdome is a weird world that I just try to that's that weird, like your sophomore year of high school when you dressed weird or something,
Yeah,
it was weird.
But like the Pitch Black match, I'm a huge Bray Wyatt fan. Bray Wyatt's like probably my favorite over the last few years. So that being his last like proper match was Pretty
Rough.
disappointing.
Yeah.
So yeah, but the sponsorships, like, even, you see all the sponsorships in the ring. When the show starts, I see them, but I don't notice them for the rest of the night, hardly. Like when I'm not watching a match and I'm not distracted by a Riyadh season logo in the corner or anything like that. So it's not that bad for me.
Don't bother me
I've watched
either.
I've watched sporting events my entire life. I mean, even back to English soccer, they've got the adverts on the logo or on the jerseys. Now even with NBA, they're getting them on, not on the front, but like, up on the shoulder or whatever with it. Or just, I have my TV on an NFL game right now and there's ads all over the stadium and whatever with it. That's, or like, it's the progressive 2-minute warning or whatever. Like we're
Yeah.
part of it. It's not, I don't understand why people try to act like pro wrestling is something more sacred than what Major League Baseball was to this country, or a sport that has been around since the 1800s,
That's what I think as well. I think that a lot of the, obviously we're talking for what we see on social media. So, and I think a lot of what you see is like, they feel like wrestling is not allowed to be like other businesses. It's not allowed to do things that other businesses, it has to cater to me and has to do what I want because it's wrestling and it's something that I like. And it's weird that they are just a business like any other business, but you don't see like, I never see anyone complain about advertisements in the NFL or football or baseball. Advertising is the biggest industry in the world. So yeah, it does seem odd that wrestling kind of gets this special treatment where they're not allowed to be a business. They have to just be entertainment.
It's entertainment. Like, have you gone to the movies anytime recently where there's commercials before, there's a trailer, there's a commercial in between the trailers? Like, it's part of the deal. I don't understand why wrestling is supposed to be something different. Because I grew up with it. Okay, but you're an adult now. Can't you understand it from that perspective? I don't. People complain about too many different
even when you're a child, there was still advertising on a TV show.
Tons.
Tons.
Hulk Hogan was all, I mean, like, what I always think of is when I was a kid, like I can remember when The Simpsons blew up and like there was Bart Simpson merchandise everywhere, like before the show changed to be more focused on Homer, like there was Bart merchandise. Like that's part of life. That's how this works. If something's popular, it's gonna be everywhere. Remember when The Mandalorian was first popular and there was Baby Yoda merch everywhere on the planet?
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's not new with wrestling either. Like Macho Man was a Slim Jim guy. Macho Man did Slim Jim for years. And like Slim Jim's been a partner for 35, 40 years with WWE. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, and I forgot about that, but you're right. Like Bischoff talked about how the Slim Jim deal paid Macho Man's salary, so they were happy to bring him on.
And like, remember JR opening pay-per-views like Skittles, Snickers, like, Rocket League, Hot Wheels, like, just crazy stuff all the time. It's nothing new.
Or whatever.
It's nothing new. I just think it's kind of got, it's probably been, there's no social media back then, so there's less noise about it.
Right.
But it's definitely nothing new. And I honestly think it's just not something worth complaining about. Of all the things there is to complain about in wrestling, I think how much money they're making in the advertising is probably pretty low on my list.
Seriously.
I would agree.
Yeah, no, that's but people will find ways to complain. That's one of my biggest problems with the IWC is nobody has any patience and they're always just looking to complain.
It's borderline insufferable.
Right? And you just know no matter what had happened, they were going to have a path of something to complain about. And it's just like, just look at it as a way to try to enjoy it. I try to enjoy things.
Yeah, I think one of you mentioned that, obviously you've got fans of certain wrestlers and they get complained about if they're not pushed to the moon, often attractive female wrestlers. And I don't think that's a coincidence, if you know what I mean.
Nope.
There was this fanfare about, I think the biggest case I saw of fanfare was probably Dakota Kai before she was released. There was this kind of almost like religious cult following of Dakota Kai where people would genuinely become upset if she lost the match or something. And, they kind of say, I'm taking time off social media because Dakota Kai lost the match. And it's like, maybe wrestling isn't for you if it's going to affect you that way. But yeah, I think there is a lot of, strange attachments from, social media to wrestlers, definitely.
Yeah. It's a little bothersome that people take that serious. I mean, geez.
Yeah. And I mean, there's always been people there's been some that have taken it too seriously, obviously with stalking or whatever, but I feel like social media unfortunately gives people, because they see their posts and they kind of like you were saying too about it's directly to them. They think they know this person. They think they're close or whatever, and they get a little too insane. And unfortunately, social media has kind of amplified that.
Yeah, and I think the problem with social media as well is that obviously when you post, everyone sees what you post. So what you post is going to be seen and judged by everyone. So yeah, there is a potential that what people post isn't actually what they feel. They're just trying to, fit in with peers and popular people and big accounts. And what they could be saying, it could be totally contrary to what they actually believe. But it's just what the thing, what the in thing is at the moment in wrestling. I'll just post that and maybe I'll get some likes and retweets, etc. It's quite sad sometimes.
Yes, yeah. And there's no consequences.
No,
it really isn't.
Yeah.
No, exactly. Yeah. No, and you can, and it's one of the things where you get to a stage where, well, can I really take anything I read on social media seriously? Like, if somebody calls Triple H a racist, do they actually think he's a racist, or are they just trying to stoke some fires and, call some shit on social media? So I tend to try and avoid it wherever possible.
I know. We've gotten to the point on our show where we see a report, we don't even bother to say anything about it till it's actually fact, because you can't tell what's what anymore. It's ridiculous. I don't know who's who or what's doing what. Nothing.
Well, yeah, the dirt sheets, me and John talk about this quite a lot. So the dirt sheets for me, I've got no problem with what they do as a profession. I respect some of them for what they do, Fightful, PW Insider, etc. But for me, if I had my ideal world, what they would report on is things that I would not find out by watching the show myself. So I don't want to know so-and-so's returning tonight. It's like, well, let me watch the show. I'll find out myself.
Yeah, thanks.
You know what I mean? Like, this person's planning to be in a feud with this person. It's like, well, give me a couple of weeks and I'll get there myself. I don't need hand-holding from some wannabe journalist who just wants to brag that he's got connections. And he's got to put something out there, otherwise people won't think he's got connections. But like, give me injury news, give me contract news. If somebody's off TV for a while, tell me why. Because Michael Cole's not going to go over it on commentary. So I would rather they just reported on things that I wouldn't find out by watching the show myself, rather than be so desperate to spoil everything, to say, look at me, I've got the scoops. And that's one of the things that really annoys me with the dirt sheets.
That's a really good way of, very quickly and succinctly expressing exactly how I feel about them. Yeah, please.
Yeah, I could have gone longer on that.
No, but it was perfect. How great have some of these moments been? Obviously with AJ Lee, like we all knew it was going to happen because they were putting it that way. But like when Punk came back, or other moments where you were surprised and it was a great shock. Like they were awesome feelings, and it's like, I don't want that blood spoiled. And
I can still remember the feeling of CM Punk returning.
Yes.
And the fact that no one had a clue is how it should always be. I don't know how it works. I don't know how it works. I don't know why WWE would deliberately feed these people information. I don't know what's in it for them. Maybe it's because it drums up interest and people will watch the show if they know what's happening, etc. But yeah, the CM Punk thing, it was just incredible. And I had this moment where obviously Randy, Cody, etc. Seth in the ring, and then it zooms out, and from watching Black and Gold back in the day, I knew that Triple H's trademark was bring up the little bottom right copyright thing.
Yeah.
And then Ciampa's going to turn on Gargano, whatever. And then Michael Cole said electrifying as always. And there was a split second when it zoomed out, I thought, oh my God. And then the music hit, and it was just like, I can't remember feeling like that euphoric in wrestling, just for the sheer surprise and moment. I was sat with my partner at the time who didn't like wrestling before we were together, and now she loves it because she started watching wrestling at the peak of the bloodline, so it was a perfect time to get into wrestling.
Nice.
And even she couldn't believe it because she knew the story of CM Punk, etc. But yeah, that was like 4 a.m. for us, and I never felt so alive at 4 a.m.
No, I didn't even think about that part of it. Yeah. No.
Do you sleep? Do you sleep at all? Like when do you?
Ever? No. Maybe once or twice a year.
We were damning at 9:30 my time, and I'm like, what the hell is he doing up?
So I have like my job kind of differs between whether I work from home or whether I work in person. So if you're talking to me at 4 a.m, it either means it's a weekend, I don't work weekends, or I work at home the next day.
Okay.
If I'm nowhere to be found from 10 o'clock onwards, it means I'm getting up at 5 a.m. to get on a train somewhere. So it really differs, but yeah, I do try and sleep when I can. But
I've got it's funny to me.
It's actually my birthday weekend this weekend, so I've got some time off this week.
Oh.
So
Nice.
30?
I will be. Am I 30? No, I'm older than 30, unfortunately.
Being nice, because I just turned 60, so I would give everybody the benefit of the doubt.
Oh, there we go.
Give everybody a wide breath.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the dirt sheets.
No, I just, and you can see it now with most of them because WWE is clearly locked down, or locked down on it, and so there's pretty much all they can do is report on AEW storylines and stuff of what's happening or who is gonna return or what's going on with it. And it's just that's not. Yeah. I'm with you. I don't want to know any of that shit. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, an example of what I thought was good was do you remember the Bobby Lashley and Hurt Syndicate news that came out a few months ago where there was a bit of backstage politicking and they were kind of saying no. That's good because that's stuff that you'll never find out by watching the show.
Right.
And that's quite interesting to hear about. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's quite interesting to hear about. And, it's quite juicy as well, isn't it? So that's the kind of stuff that I'd like to see from journalists, personally.
Yeah. Actual journalism. What a shock.
Yeah.
That's how it used to be.
Yeah.
It used to be like they tell you what's going on behind the scenes, and that was about it. I mean, that was good. That's why I subscribed to the Observer back in my day.
Mm-hmm.
Came in every week. You read their real name. You thought that was pretty cool. John Higginbottom. Who's that? HBK. Okay, cool. Stuff like that was good, but then they started dipping into some stuff that it just got weird quick.
And now it's all online, so if he reports something wrong, he can he can edit it out after it's been quote unquote posted too. That's terrible, man. Yeah.
Didn't he report that Shibata had his brain taken out and put back in?
Yes, that's
a few years ago. Yeah.
And that was in the print one, so he can't retract that.
That's my favorite one ever. That's my favorite one.
When he said Appa was dead.
Yeah.
Dr. Dave Meltzer.
He wasn't dead yet. Appa passed away, then Sika passed away, and he reported the day early his death. That was just a weird sequence.
God. It's been a rough year.
And instead of apologizing, he just doubled down. Like, well, I was told by somebody, close to the family member. It's like, just apologize. Please just apologize.
I got into it with Dave this year and he blocked me because of it. Shock horror.
That's what happened.
So, the whole the Saudi show this year where there was kind of like a lot of tension around the Middle East and there was like, oh, they should cancel it.
Yeah.
And, Dave Meltzer reported that the UK had banned all travel to Saudi Arabia as a result of the conflict. And that's not true. So the UK has had a uniform ban on traveling to the Yemen border of Saudi Arabia for about 15 years because what's going on in Yemen is pretty horrific and has been for a long time.
Right.
So if you look on the UK government advice for Saudi Arabia, their whole country is green, which means go nuts, apart from this one red line on the border of Yemen, which means do not go here, you will get killed. So I said, that's not true. Dave, you're lying. And I sent a screenshot saying this is what it says. The US government were the same. They weren't advising against travel to Saudi Arabia. Just don't go to the Yemen border.
Right.
And he just blocked me because of it. I was like, okay. Well,
you were right.
Okay. Yeah.
That's all.
I guess that is vindication. Yeah.
Yeah. That's all he has to do is say thank you to the honorary Zeus on Twitter for sending me this. I didn't know this. That's all you gotta do. I do it all the time. I'll say something stupid and someone comes and corrects me and I say, I didn't know that. Thank you. That's it. Done.
Yeah. And it takes a lot of swallowing pride to do that kind of thing, whoever you are. And obviously for someone of Dave's, position in the community, he obviously can't do that.
Yeah, it's just impossible. Yeah, no, one of my favorite things on this show is, or when George and I talk, is when I had an opinion and somebody or someone will give me something like, you know what? I didn't think of it that way. Thank you. And sometimes my mind will be changed, or at least now I can see it from a different perspective. But yeah, I forget what it was exactly. Dave blocked me in sometime in 2022, I feel like. Again, it was about the numbers and reporting and, the way he helps AEW's numbers out of like, oh, they went up against this and that and the other. And then NXT just puts their numbers out and tries to shit. It's all in the way he's presenting him of it. I forget exactly what he blocked me for, but same kind of thing. And I proved him wrong. And instead of responding back, just all of a sudden I couldn't respond or look at his page anymore. Jeez.
So
sorry,
go ahead, finish your thought. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say I've only had two high profile blocks this year. That is Dave Meltzer and Dax Harwood. And I'm pretty sure their block lists are very, very high. So I was
just about to say, I'm like, man, I wonder how similar they are too. Like if you were able to
Yeah.
compare them, I'm not shocked by that.
Well, Dax, I've never communicated with Dax directly, so I'm very curious what it was that led him to hit the block button.
Doesn't matter. He don't care.
He blocks
Have
my
you heard of this?
PlayStation.
So have you guys heard of this, our new tracking system for ratings over here now?
Yeah, is it big data and like what? I follow Raj Giri, who does a lot of great insight on ratings.
Okay,
Yeah. And obviously, AEW suffered a huge hit this week, didn't they, in their ratings?
Everyone did. Well, to be fair to them,
everyone did. Yeah.
Fair to them, everyone did because of the playoffs for Major League Baseball. But
yeah.
I have noticed that the ratings are now going to be a day later than they normally would be.
Okay.
So you're not going to get Dynamite ratings on the Thursday. You'll get on a Friday. NXT you won't get on a Wednesday. You'll get on a Thursday.
Interesting.
Because of this new system. Because it's very confusing. But
I wonder if it'll still kind of be the same. So far, I guess it has been where, NXT can kind of dictate what you're going to see from AEW. Like, it's not like when NXT drops, AEW picks that up. It's like if NXT was at 700 and then the next week they're at 650, Dynamite will be, at 600 and then the next week they'll be at 550 or whatever the difference is. But it doesn't seem like if NXT's dropping, it's going to be the same for Dynamite usually.
It's just a new way of doing things because of all the new ways of tracking. So.
Yeah, well, that makes sense too, because how many people really watch TV through linear television anymore?
And I guess it really puts into perspective that wrestling is just it's bottom of the priorities compared to other sports, isn't it?
Right. Yeah.
Like baseball, NFL, wrestling always suffers due to other sports. And I'm sure it'd be the same here as well. Like if Tottenham Hotspur were playing a really important game and Monday Night Raw was on, I'm watching Tottenham Hotspur 100%. Because I can only get that live experience once, whereas I can watch Raw on a delay and it wouldn't make any difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, if you catch a Raw spoiler, like that sucks, but you're going to still watch it. Like if you catch the game score, or catch anything that happened before you watch it, it's hard to. That's why if I wake up late for the match, I just don't even look at my phone. I just leave it plugged in and I'll come in and turn on my TV and watch the match through there.
Like I've never watched a football match on a repeat. Like after it's happened, like every football match I've watched has been as it's happening on the television.
Yeah, that's how I am. Yeah, same thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think sports, like, because wrestling isn't sports, it's entertainment, isn't it? Sports just has that kind of, I think it feeds into our tribal nature a lot more, sports, because it's kind of that thing where we attach ourselves to it and we're so into it. And, like with wrestling, like I can flip flop between WWE, NXT and AEW by which one I prefer at the time. But you don't do that with your sports teams. You stick with your sports team through thick and thin.
This is my.
I mean, some wrestling fans, some wrestling fans do that, but they're weird.
Yeah, right. Yeah, seriously, I'm gonna watch what I watch. Yeah, no, but I've got the teams that I support, and I'm not gonna just start randomly supporting another team with it or pick it up because it's a new team.
Yeah,
it's not that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the main reasons for doing the show at 4:05 Eastern because the Bills don't play till 7:20. I'm just kidding.
There you go.
Yeah, it's true though. Buffalo plays tonight, so it was nice that I can concentrate on this and not worry about watching my TV. Sorry, folks, I'm losing my voice.
Yeah, Spurs played yesterday, so we were both good. That's great. That worked out. Although for me, usually, if it's this late in the afternoon for me, it's got to be like the late night game on Saturday for you guys. Like it comes on at noon for me.
Yeah.
Time difference is tough. That's why it's always funny every now and then. It doesn't happen often, but every now and then someone will try to look down on me from either the UK or Europe being an American soccer fan. I'm like, hey dude, I'm waking up at like 5, 6 in the morning for these matches. I'm here to support, dude. Cause I do. It's a superstition. You want to watch live. Like maybe I need to have this hat on or sit over there or, like at the pub, I don't smoke anymore, but I used to smoke. Like if we were down in the first half, I would always go outside and smoke a cigarette and felt like it helped the team. It didn't, but it felt like it did.
Yeah. And you can kind of lose yourself in that kind of thing, can't you? And it's
yes,
it's the same escape from reality that wrestling is. And people forget that we watch wrestling to be entertained, to escape from reality, which is why I get so confused at people who get genuinely upset and miserable watching wrestling. Because this is supposed to do the opposite. You're doing it wrong.
Yeah,
And
you're
that's
going
weird.
about it the wrong way.
Yeah, and that's why with some of the complaints, you can just tell it's like, no, you're looking to complain. You're like, all right,
Yeah.
what didn't I like about this? Because there's certain things, it doesn't happen often, but there are certain things that pretty much come off pretty perfectly, like the CM Punk return or whatever. And I forget what exactly was, but I know there was people that were mad about it, but they weren't mad about that. They were just mad in general. And then a lot of them were AEW fans and sad to see Punk on WWE TV and know how big that was going to be for them.
Yeah. So Zeus.
Yeah, and yeah.
Were you you had a thought there you want to finish up first before I ask?
No, you carry on. I was just going to corroborate what Jake was saying.
Okay, cool. Before we start wrapping things up here, because we've gone
pretty long. I didn't even realize that.
Which is awesome. However, I want to get your opinion. Speaking of big returns, do you expect Mr. Jericho back in WWE? And if so, when? And how would you use him if you brought him back?
Yeah, 100% expect him back.
Nice.
Personally I'd have him in the Rumble. I think that's the perfect time to kind of bring him back. You could.
Makes the most sense.
Yeah, and you can make use of the countdown thing and stuff like that, and obviously build anticipation in those 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
How I would use him, I think Jericho is probably one of my all-time favorites. Looking back, I mean, maybe I haven't as much been a fan of his recent kind of learning tree stuff, but I think his ability and his charisma and his, just natural ability at this kind of sports entertainment thing has just been. There's not many people who have done it better and longer than Jericho has.
True.
So I could see him working with a lot of young talent, in a kind of mini, 1 year run in WWE.
Yeah,
and I can really
I feel like the problem, a lot of the stuff in AEW is he was trying to keep up with the kids, and keep up with their style and do too much, where in WWE, he could probably have one of those matches where he takes 6 bumps, total, and it's a great match. From front to back,
and I think for Jericho, for me, it's like, what matches do you want to see? It's like, well, I'm not too bothered about the matches, but the programs as a whole, in terms of the interactions, the promos, the kind of stories he can tell with other people. That's what I'm kind of looking forward to. Right. The matches could be good or bad. I mean, he's in his 50s now, so I'm not gonna, I'm not expecting him to bust out, Meltzer 5-star classics. But so I think expectations need to be tempered in that respect.
Yeah, but he's going to, and you've seen this from other people that have come back, guarantee you Jericho will come back in 100% great shape.
Yeah.
Because that's what WWE does.
He'll go and do the stem cell stuff that Mysterio does, and find out from guys like Randy Orton, even Edge too, what are you doing to be in this
AJ
possible shape? Yeah, AJ, God, AJ, yeah, exactly. Or they've come back and look, you're in your 40s or I think close to 50s on most of them. I know Jericho's over it, but what do you got to do?
Look at Brock Lesnar. Even Brock Lesnar, who's always looked jacked, he looked extra jacked. I didn't think he could look any more jacked than he was, but Jesus Christ.
He's always been just inhuman,
scary,
and now he's even more
that
so.
Was scary.
No, yeah, seriously. No, still, I think Randy Orton was the one that still surprised me the most when he came back. He's always been in good shape, and he's a big guy, but then it's like this is the biggest he's ever been, and just jacked. But I mean, if you pay the money and get the right weight training and the right perfect regimen, you can make it work. And that's where Jericho too. It's not like he's got to work a match every week, work 3, maybe 5 pay-per-views a year or something. Can maybe mix in a Saturday night's main event and make the programs matter and throw him in some tag stuff. Let him team with somebody at different points.
Yeah, I'd love to see him elevate people like Bron Breakker, and I'd love to see him elevate people like Carmelo Hayes, and who knows who's going to be from NXT on the main roster by then. I think he could do some great stuff, because look at the stuff he did with Kevin Owens. That was, fucking great.
Yeah.
And I think he could do so many things, not just within the wrestling, but I think outside of that as well.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like, Jericho, as bad as terrible as Vince was, but he was good at filtering people's ideas into something more palatable. Jericho would come with the big grand, and Vince could, and I feel like Triple H and the team now is great with that, because you can see a lot of what people are doing. It's stuff at least that they want to do, or in the vein of stuff they want to do.
Well, you make a good point, because Vince McMahon, you look at Vince Russo. You look at Vince Russo in WWE compared to Vince Russo in WCW. So Vince Russo outside of WWE is Vince Russo without a leash on. Whereas Vince Russo in WWE had Vince saying, no, that's ridiculous, change it.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. Yeah, Vince did have that kind of, Vince was a man who, you listened to Vince, didn't you? You just listened to him.
Yeah, look at John Moxley.
There's another one. That's a great one too.
God, those ideas just didn't pop up in his head overnight. Those have been in there since WWE days,
those
dude.
have been there for a while. Yeah, he came back in this character quoting a movie from 1992 or 3 or something like that, for that Australian movie with Russell Crowe. So yeah, you're right. He's been thinking of this shit forever.
Well, do you know what? It really makes sense now, because you remember WrestleMania 32, that terrible WrestleMania.
Yep.
And I think they had Dean Ambrose versus Brock Lesnar in a street fight, and it sucked. And now I know why, because Dean Ambrose is saying, I want to do this, and Brock's like saying, nah, fuck that, I am not doing that shit.
Inside the Ropes did one of their things with Heyman, and there's a clip, I forget exactly how long, but it's a clip of Heyman saying exactly that, of just like, here's what we want to do. Do you think Brock Lesnar's gonna want to do? And he lists off all the shit that Dean wanted to do. And it was Moxley who's put the idea into, well, maybe Darby wanted to anyway, but between the two of them, that's why you have a flamethrower on television, on wrestling. It's for the second time, by the way.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'm struggling to kind of, with Darby Allin and John Moxley, it's like, where do they go next? I thought when Darby jumped through that plane of glass at Sting's last match, I thought that is I still think that is the most extreme thing I've seen on AEW, because that was, I love the match. I thought it was great, and I love the show. I thought the show was one of the best they've ever done. But I think that moment, in terms of like how far can they go, I think that's just the furthest I've ever seen.
A bunch of chairs too, didn't he? Where he did kind of the same fall of like off a ladder that's in the ring.
Yeah, just chairs standing up backwards against each other.
Yeah, that one to me, I remember that. I remember seeing that and just being like, I could hear like the King in the back of my head, like for Mick. Oh no, that's it. He's dead. Like that's it.
Yeah. But I think you think about like all this stuff that AEW does, like the extreme stuff. Yeah. But it's never going to be as iconic as Mankind off the cell, is it?
No. And the problem is too, is they oversaturate it, where if you're doing something every couple of weeks or every week, and then, or, in multiple matches with everything, whether it's this crazy violent stuff or just certain holds or certain finishes to matches, they're just overdo everything. And it's because they without a performance center or coaching area, and without, a proper booker and agents who will actually like coach these wrestlers to do wrestling as opposed to just a stunt show. This is just what we're going to keep getting. And
because if you had Mankind go off the cell at King of the Ring 98, and then if you had Phineas Godwin do the same thing the next month, then it wouldn't have felt special. It wouldn't have felt special, would it?
Right. That's a good way. That's a really good comparison, because that's how they do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You see,
awesome. So if this experiment here at 4:00 Eastern was a success, please put it in the comments section. We'll do it once a month for the overseas people, if they want to come and listen to our show every Sunday. Thumbs up in the chat. Okay.
Yeah. Good. Let us know. I'll put this video up on YouTube if you want to comment there.
Zeus, you want to promote your, not YouTube, but your X page, what people can expect there, where to follow you?
Yeah. So, I've actually got a few things in the works at the moment. So I'm going to be starting a brand new YouTube project where I'm going to be reaching out to,
awesome.
like not just wrestlers, but wrestling content creators, to kind of do some interviews.
Nice.
And I'm going to interview wrestling content creators, and, hopefully try and get to some, pretty kind of prevalent people, and just kind of, ask them some questions on what they think of wrestling at the moment, and, try and get it from the other side kind of thing. So I'm hopefully going to be kicking, thank you. And, also we have a current YouTube channel where we do, WWE 2K25. But we don't use wrestlers. We download loads of like comic book cartoon characters and use those instead.
Okay.
So we've currently got Deadpool versus Jason Voorhees in our World Title Tournament finals coming up. So
that's awesome.
I got me and my friend doing commentary, and we kind of do some kind of makeshift backstage segments that we've kind of put together with some help from some generated voices. So that's going to be resuming probably towards the end of the year. It's on a break at the moment, but yeah, that's what I've got coming up. And my X page is just me talking about wrestling, so nothing special.
Cool.
Yeah, if you want to shoot me or send me the link to the YouTube channel, I'll put it in the comments
Yeah, sure, that'd be great. Thank you.
I'll post it because that's what I'm gonna be doing the rest of my afternoons. I'm gonna edit this up and put it up on YouTube as quickly as I can because I know not everybody can catch live, or even when you see some people come in for a bit and jump out. So I like to put them up on YouTube so we can actually share them so people.
Yeah, Zeus is a good follow on X, by the way.
Yes,
I enjoy it.
yeah. No, it's good.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Jake?
Yep. Yeah. And if you click on the honorary Zeus in the description of our spaces right now, you can go to them and follow the page. But, go to, if you like what you're hearing from us, we do, our live show is every Thursday at 8:45 p.m. Eastern. We do a recorded episode each week. We're going to do another classic match review. Now that we've done our most recent episode with Howard, everything's on youtube.com/@AltJakeTakesOn. You can also follow me on X @AltJakeTakesOn. Thank you so much, Zeus. This was awesome. This is a great conversation. We'll have to do this again sometime for sure.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, man. Love to come back.
Yeah, awesome. Anything else you want to get into, George? Anything else you got?
No, we touched everything.
Awesome.
If you guys like the 405 start, just let us know. Cause I'll do it once a month with Jake, and Jake I don't think he minds either. But.
Yeah. Or depending on other people's schedules too, once a month, every 6 weeks, whatever works. We can figure it out.
Works. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
You know me, I've been flexible this whole time. Whatever. If something works and people are enjoying it, I'm happy to do it because I want to keep doing this as much as we can.
Thank you everybody for coming on. We appreciate
Peace, everybody. We will catch you next time. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Peace. Thanks, Zeus.